Good morning. The July 9th, 2019 Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards is called to order. I will start this meeting by reading off the items to be deferred. I will read the page number, file number, address, and lastly, the reason for deferral, and take a motion for all at the end. Where's my list? Same? Okay. Okey-doke. So, starting on page 2, file number 20042, located at 300 North Michigan. This item has not been before the Plan Commission. Page 3, file number 20041, located at 3150 North Racine, also has not been before the Plan Commission. On page 4, file number 20027, located at 1819 North Major and 1812 North Central Avenue, again has not been before the Plan Commission. On page 6, file number 20043, located at 2373 South Archer, has been deferred to July 23rd per attorney. On page 8, file number 20045, located at 2600 through 2624 West Hirsch, 1401 through 1439 North Tallman, 1400 through 1436 North Rockwell, has not been before the Plan Commission. On page 9, file number 19093, located at 3201 West Belmont, deferred per Alderman Ramirez Rosa. So do I hear a motion to defer these items? Alderman Lopez moves to defer. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and these items are deferred. Okay. At this time, we'll now begin the public comment period. Out of respect for everyone's time, please, each speaker will be limited to 4 minutes to address all items on the agenda. This will be the only opportunity to address the items on the agenda, and the committee will not conduct separate public comment before each item, therefore. So, we have witness slips. Okay. So, Mr. George Blakemore.
Shut up. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is George Blakemore. And it seems like to me I'm the only black. I see one lady over here that's here as citizens. The only black. I'm very comfortable with the role that I'm playing. Why is it no black here to participate in public comment? Institutional racism. I told you before when I came up, Alderman Turney, that don't ever call my number. Don't ever call my phone. You are racist too. And all of these people who are sitting on these committees, these whites, and these blacks are still on the same plantation. They got to go along to get along because they pay to play. With the zoning committee, all these attorneys are going to be white attorneys. They're not going to be black attorneys. I don't know how. Yes, you do, Mr. Blakemore. How people get in this situation? Institutional racism, enslaved blacks in America. So I don't care about Pat Dowd being here or Walter Burnett being here or these little few blacks. I'm representing the mass of blacks that are not here. And if they're not here, it's because of institutional racism. You do not inform, you do not engage, and you do not enlighten black people to come here. This is all a game that people play, pay to play. And you will see it all rubber stamped if Mr. Blakemore is lying watch every item that comes up. They will say, I. It's a game that people play here. It's a game, and you know who's going to be the loser? It's black citizens, white poor citizens, white Asian citizens, and white Mexican citizens with this game. It is going to be social engineered. Chicago will once again be a little San Francisco on the lake. Poor whites will not be able to live here. Citizens, poor black citizens, poor Asian citizens, poor Hispanic citizens. Look at the Tribune Tower now. They gave $7 million to the Neighborhood Investment Act. You don't stay here, poor whites. You don't stay here, poor blacks. You don't stay here, poor Hispanic and Asian citizens and Hispanic. Go somewhere else. I'm talking about the Wrigley Building on Michigan. So the reason this communist society can continuously go on because they have no citizen participation. I'm going to turn them in to Mr. Rael or public meeting or whatever his name. This gentleman here say, I'm going to cut out his comment and paste mine in. That who are you to set the rule that traditionally every item the public can speak on, but you won't come in with your $11 million or $10 million that you have received for your property, so you too are part of the waste, fraud, and abuse. And yeah, I'm going to sit down. Shut up. I hate all of you. Shut up.
Alan Mellis. Alan? Can we get,
We have those
We have it.
already distributed to all the committee members.
Alan, they've already been distributed to committee members.
Good morning.
Good morning, Alan.
Morning, Tom. Good morning, members of the committee. I'm over here. Thank you. Thank you, John. I am Alan Mellis, a Lincoln Park community leader for over 40 years and have been testified before the City Council Committee on zoning, landmarks, and building standards hundreds of times. Excuse me. In the past, any citizen could address the zoning committee immediately after hearing the presentation of a specific zoning item while sitting directly in front of the zoning committee. This allowed for the citizen to respond to current details that were presented by the applicant to either raise concerns or provide support. My primary concerns about the new citizen testimony procedure are: 1, the public cannot adequately respond to the applicant's current proposal since they have not heard it. 2, it does not allow the zoning committee members to hear relevant public testimony as each item is being discussed. And 3, if a committee member does not arrive prior to the public comment period, they might not hear the testimony at all. A member of this committee brought this concern up at the last meeting. In order to have the transparent process you desire while keeping the meetings moving, I have the following suggestion. 1, at the beginning of the meeting, allow general public comments for 3 minutes from this microphone in the gallery. 2, when each item is presented, allow the public to testify directly facing the committee. This testimony must be directly relevant to the agenda item. Let me repeat that. This testimony must directly be relevant to the agenda item. The chairman will be able to prohibit extraneous testimony that is not relevant to the item. This suggestion will provide neighbors the opportunity to better provide concerns and comments, both positive and negative, as the item is being presented while keeping the meeting moving. Chairman Tunney, as indicated, the zoning committee is trying a different approach. I encourage him to implement these suggestions and modify this different approach. Thank you, and I would encourage your questions. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Alan. And as always, I certainly have worked with you both locally and on the Plan Commission, so we will continue to take this as constructive advice as you always send it out that way.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay? All right. Judith Alexander.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Judith Alexander. I chair an organization called the North Avenue District. We're a group of Chicagoans and Oak Parkers who've been working since 2013 to revitalize North Avenue from Austin to Harlem. You should have our fact sheet in your packets.
We do.
I'm here today to testify on behalf of our organization in support of the projects proposed for 7152 West North and 7141 West Wabansia in the 29th Ward. My colleague Laura Constance is here as well. The first thing to know about these projects is that they were planned with considerable community engagement. Alderman Taliaferro has held at least 5 community meetings and received numerous comments from constituents by phone, email, and Facebook. Developers have made a number of concessions in response to their concerns. In addition, these projects are compatible with an extensive community planning process for North Avenue revitalization by the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, or CMAP. Every Galewood resident within 4 blocks of North Avenue was invited by postcard to participate in a survey. More than 800 residents took these surveys in the summer of 2018. The majority favored multifamily housing on North Avenue. Only 17% opposed it. So one of the reasons we support this project is that most community members support projects like it. These survey responses were reviewed by a team of real estate professionals from the Urban Land Institute, or ULI, along with input from a very well-attended community meeting. The ULI team also interviewed dozens of community leaders. You have a link to their report, this one, in your packet. The ULI report says, quote, "The panel expects new, well-designed residential development to lead North Avenue's revitalization." These projects are precisely that, new, well-designed residential developments. ULI recommended development of the former Sears site as one of 5 key projects to stimulate revitalization. CMAP held another well-publicized community meeting in May of this year when the ULI report was reviewed. There were no objections to anything in the ULI report. So experts as well as community members are generally in favor of these projects, and we agree. And we have some other good reasons to support these developments. They're good for the community. Today's renters will become tomorrow's home buyers in our community, per ULI. Other renters are downsizing seniors who need a place to live to stay here. Renters already occupy many of the units along North Avenue, and they've generally been good neighbors. Multifamily development is needed for North Avenue to thrive, to replace vacant properties, to provide more customers for our many fine businesses, and to add vitality. There are now numerous commercial vacancies because the supply of retail and office space exceeds demand. We estimate that as about 20% for retail and at least 12% for offices. Finally, Tucker Development is an experienced organization with a good reputation and a solid track record. We hope you'll vote in favor of these projects, and we thank you for this opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. We have another witness. Is it Dalia Acevedo?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am one of the residents behind the 1600 block.
Would you repeat the names just so we have it for the record?
Sure. My name is Daila Acevedo.
Great.
And I'm here representing my 1600 block on Nordica. And this is for the project on West Wabansia Avenue with the Zurich Finance.
Correct.
We're aware of there's 2 zonings for these 2 projects that you
Yes.
have, and we're all forward for the Harlem and North. But for the Wabansia project, I mean, I ask you, I beg of you to please come with Zurich with some type of um, agreement. We really don't want a 4-story building where I'm looking up and that's all I see. And that starts from my gate of my backyard, 16 feet away to that building. The condensity is already crazy with the 2 projects they have on Elmwood and Harlem and North. Can they come down on those 6 units? We are asking for 6% of those units to not be there. Give us green space. Give the tenants, these rental tenants, parking. Where are they going to walk their dog? The first block closest to them, my block. Where are they going to park the cars? The block closest to them, which is my block. So I'm here. I had other things to do. I'm a mother of 5 children. There's many families there, many elderly people that cannot make it. I had to take a day off to come here and raise my concerns. So I beg of you, please, do not pass that zoning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dahlia, for coming down. And just so for the projects that you speak of, it's on the deferred agenda, but we are going to, after we hear some of our initial building code issues, we're going to put this one first. So if a chance, you want to wait for about a half hour so you can hear the testimony and maybe
Well, this is very important to me, my family,
I know it is.
and my block.
Yep, and we want to be there for you too. Okay?
Thank you.
Great. All right. I don't think we have, right? No more? Okay, that is the witnesses that asked to speak. So that concludes the public commentary portion of the meeting. And moving on, we have the one housekeeping matter, a direct introduction to the committee from the Department of Planning and Development, an ordinance establishing a landmark designation for the Pilsen Historic District. So do I have a motion to accepting this direct introduction? Alderman Lopez moves it. All those in favor, aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And these items will be referred to the Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards. Right? Great. Where's our alderman from the 25th Ward? Great, great. We're gonna be spending a lot of time with you on this one. Okay. All right, next. Just make sure. Okay, moving on, we're going to start with the addendum on the agenda. The first item on the addendum, mayoral application number 1907, ordinance referred on June 12th of 2019. The amendment of the municipal code titles 2, 4, 5, 7, 13, 14A, 14B, 14C, 14E, 14R, and 15 regarding technical corrections to the Chicago Construction and Building Codes. We also have a substitute for this text amendment. Alderman Raboyes moves to accept the substitute. So moved. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the substitute is accepted. And we have our Commissioner Judy Friedland here to testify. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning, Chairman.
Let's talk about this code. I think each of our committee members has...
They should have the ordinance and a fact sheet.
Okay. So the ordinance and a fact sheet, executive summary, I believe, right? Committee members, we're good? Okay, Commissioner.
Good morning. As you know, this council passed the new building code in April, I think April 10th of this year. And as I said at the time, we would be back because it needed to be edited and some technical amendments and so forth. And so we're back. There's no substantive changes. It's all technical, and we list them out for you. So I think probably the easiest way to move forward is to see if you have any questions, probably unless Deputy Commissioner Baudet or Ulrich want to add anything before that. No? Okay, so I think we would just take questions.
Alderman Lopez will start questions.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning,
Always a pleasure to see
Alderman.
you. I just wanted to ask a couple questions. First off, is there a reason, I know some of the technical changes dealt with it sound petty, but the italicized versus non-italicized words, is there a reason for that, or is that just how it was transcribed in the substitute?
Yeah, I think we're following the pattern of the international code, but
Oh.
Grant can
Okay.
elaborate on that.
Grant?
Good morning, Deputy Commissioner Grant Ulrich. So in the model codes that we adopted, italicized text indicates that it's a defined term. So that would reference
Got it.
you back to the definition section.
Okay. You know, I was here when you and your entire team modernized the building code, and, you know, we praised you then. I do like the fact that there's one technical aspect that I think has been corrected, which is the ability to move forward regardless of notice.
Right, that's all taken care of. So we have all of our emergency powers that we need to do emergency demolitions, vacates, whatever emergency action, get a receiver out there to put up a canopy without having to go to court first. Whatever we need to do to protect public safety, we're fully covered.
So this fully encapsulates everything that we need to do to continue doing that, correct?
Yes, and we had extensive meetings with the law department, and we looked at all this very carefully, and we have all the powers that we need to protect the public.
As you know, and as my fellow members may not know, this is a tool that we've used quite extensively, in my ward, particularly when we're trying to balance the need for property rights versus absentee property owners, non-existent property owners in the communities that are forced to live next to these derelict buildings that so oftentimes have gone unreclaimed for decades. So
Right.
I'm glad to see that you have the full power and authority to continue doing what you've done so well in my neighborhood throughout the city of Chicago. And again, I'm glad you're still here. I'm glad you're still fighting for our neighborhoods, and look
course.
forward to seeing this in full implementation moving forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alderman Lopez.
Questions from other committee members? Hearing not, what are we going to do with that? Hearing that no other questions, then I need a motion to pass these revisions in ordinance. So moved by Alderman Kappelman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and will be passed as amended and will be reported out at the July 24th City Council meeting.
Thank you.
All right? Thank you. As our colleague said, we enjoy working with the entire department here.
We enjoy working with you as well.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay. Through here? Okay. So, moving on, we have 4 large signs over 100 feet in area, 24 feet above grade. We will hear them all together. I will read the ward, followed by the address, and take a motion at the end. In the 47th Ward, 2323 West Lawrence. In the 42nd Ward, 312, that's 312 North Clark Street. Also in the 42nd Ward, 10 East Chicago Avenue. And in the 21st Ward, 57 West 81st Street. Questions from committee members? Sorry? Well, good point. I have my script, so let's see where it's at.
Oh, 85th Street.
All right, let me-
Apologize.
Apologies accepted. Sorry. Actually, in the 21st Ward, thank you, Alderman Beal, the address 57 West 85th Street. Okay. Any questions other than that? If not, can I have a motion to pass on these orders? Alderman Dowell, motions do pass on the orders. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and these orders are passed and will be reported out July 24th to the City Council. Now we'll move on to the regular agenda.
We're going to go out of order to page 10.
Okay, let me take this. Okay, as I said earlier, we are going to go out of order on the agenda, and we will move to page 10. And we're going to take these 2 items together. As committee members, we had a couple witnesses for and against, and I said that we would try to hear them early, and so we can get them on their way. And
And they should also have that in front of them.
okay. So my staff says committee members should have in front of them 3 letters of opposition and 1 letter of support for this project in your packet. All right. So for the record, document number 19946 in the 29th Ward, ordinance referred on 1/23 of 19. I'm sorry, the docket number 02019-331, common address 7119 through 7141 West Wabansia Avenue, 1615 through 1657 North Neva Avenue. Change request, RS2 Residential Single Unit Detached House District to an RM 4.5 Residential Multi-Unit District, and then Residential Plan Development. And we're also going to hear the next item together. And that item, number 19947, again in the 29th Ward, ordinance referred 1/23 of 19, common address 7152, 7190 West North Avenue, 1601 through 1657 North Harlem Avenue, 7153 through 7191 West Wabansia Avenue, and 1600 through 1636 North Neva Avenue. Change request on this one, B12 Neighborhood Shopping District to a B32 Community Shopping District, and then to a Residential Business Plan Development. We will take the motions separately at the end, but we'll hear them together. And for those of us that are familiar with the area, this was the old Sears site, I believe, with its companion parking lot. The first item, I believe, is the actual store and its property, if I'm correct?
That's item 2.
That's okay. So the first item will be the parking lot.
Yes.
And then the next item will be the Sears store. Just as the witnesses says, because I believe I've been to Plan Commission, there's support for one and not the other, and so I just want our committee members, for clarity, to know, and the witnesses to know which ones that they
Okay.
are. I think the witness in opposition was on the parking lot site.
For matter 1, so that'll be the one that we'll talk about first.
Okay.
But we'll handle them together.
Great. Okay. So,
Okay.
Counselor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Rich Clowder. I'm with the law firm of DLA Piper, 444 West Lake. Seated to my right are Rich and Aaron Tucker. They are the representatives from the developer, and to their right is Lynn Means, our traffic consultant, and to her right is Howard Hirsch, the project architect. As a preliminary matter, this matter was before the Plan Commission on June 20th, 2019, where it received a recommendation for approval. We'd like to ask, as a preliminary matter, as I said, that the transcript from that hearing be incorporated into the record of today's proceeding.
So Alderman Raboyes moves to incorporate the records from the Plan Commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the records are now incorporated
Thank you.
for both items.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to provide a little bit of emphasis on the first matter because that was the basis for the concern that was expressed by the witness. I did want to mention that since Plan Commission, at the request of the alderman and based on feedback from the immediate neighbors, the applicant agreed to remove 2 townhomes from the plan and to provide a larger amount of green space. Therefore, the bulk table exhibits have been updated since Plan Commission to reflect the reduced number of units and corresponding removal of accessory parking spaces. The revised materials were provided to the committee through the Department of Planning and Development, and I do want to note for the interest of the chairman and the committee members that the updated site plan that reflects those changes appears before you. And I'm sorry that the neighbors aren't able to see that, but we did make those changes last week, and I think that they will accommodate at least some of the concerns of the neighbors because, as I said, we removed a couple of the townhomes that were of concern, and we substituted for them green space and reduced the accessory parking by a corresponding amount. The property, to remind you...
Hold on a second. So from the department perspective, you comfortable with the narrative there? And for the...
Yes, that is accurate. Patrick Murphy from the Department of Planning.
Okay, and the fact that it's less, it doesn't, we can do this
Yes.
as a matter of fact.
A reduction in the intensity is not a problem.
I
Correct.
understand that, but I wanted to make sure everyone understood that. Okay, great. Proceed.
Okay, so the first property briefly is zoned RS2, and the application would rezone the property first to RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district and then to a residential plan development. It's about 120,000 square feet. We're proposing the construction of a residential development containing 150 dwelling units and 173 parking spaces, together with accessory and incidental uses. This property, like the subsequent property, is located in the 29th Ward. As was mentioned by one of the witnesses or public testifiers, it received an extensive community engagement process. It has the support of Alderman Taliaferro. A letter of support is on file, and we would ask for this committee's favorable recommendation on this project as amended or as substituted. Would you like me to pause there and invite any comment from commission members, or would you like me to take the next
It's a big
part of the
project, so let me ask if there's questions from committee members and testimony so far. Alderman Haddon.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
In reading through some of the written testimony, both in support and in opposition to the project, some of the concerns seem to be about, you know, that alley space and then the setbacks on the new townhomes. And so these are very beautiful drawings, but I'm trying to get a better look at them. Can you give me an indication of, you know, is this going to be a standard alley size? Is this going to, because there's not currently an alley there, is that correct?
So we're actually providing relief in addition to the green space that is created by the elimination of the 2 townhomes. Could I call upon Howard Hirsch, the project architect, to just walk you through that very briefly with reference to the drawings before you?
Well, it's not just her.
Here.
The court reporter, I think. We need a mic.
Thank you very much for the record. My name is Howard Hirsch with Hirsch MPG Architects in Chicago. Currently, there is no alley along the, actually, I'm going to turn it this way because north will be up. Might be easier to understand it a little bit. We have Neva Avenue on the west, Wabansie on the north, and the single-family lots that adjoin the property to the east. There currently is no alley located there. There are garages in the backyards for those neighbors, but they're all accessed off of the street to the east. A new 16-foot public alley is being proposed as part of this development, which is the standard size of the alley. In addition, there is a setback from the property line to the first townhomes of 20 feet, so an additional 4 feet on top of that. There's a large green space that's located in the middle with townhomes that have been split on each side. The 2 townhomes that were removed were in the center to increase the size of the green space.
Thank you.
Howard, what is the size of the green space?
The dimension from,
Size.
yeah, so it's 69 feet in this direction, 88 feet in the north-south direction.
9 by 8.
Yeah, so it's over 5,000 square feet, 6,000 square feet.
He did. Yeah. I know that was a question with our witness, too.
Perfect, yeah.
All right. Alderman Haddon, do you another question?
So a question for Chairman. I know we have a couple of the residents here who spoke. I'm wondering if we can show them this drawing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incumbent upon the team to be talking to these witnesses about the change plan, because obviously the one witness was not aware of it. We're not going to ask them.
Do you mind if I show them?
Go ahead.
Well, let me just see. Where is our witness? Why don't you come on down? We just want her to be aware of the changes. Yeah.
I was going to say, my name is Richard Tucker,
Yes.
Tucker Development. These were provided, and the alderman did share these with the community.
Okay.
So they have seen them.
All right. The reduction was
Howard,
2
why don't you show her what
townhouses.
you've done? She was standing behind it.
We're not here to question, we're just, you know.
I literally understand that you did some changes, but we're not asking for, you're 16 feet away from my backyard. I wish you showed a picture how it looks from my perspective looking at your property. It's not nice.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming down. Well, all right, Alderman Burnett. $16 feet, of which according to the testimony, there was not an alley, so it's this part of the project, right?
Correct.
Right, and I did want to make a point that was made at the Plan Commission by a Plan Commission member. I believe it was Commissioner Searle, but it might have been somebody else. And that is, even under the current zoning, we do not exceed the height. We would be able to build that building as of right, and we think what we're doing is providing additional relief for the benefit of the Nordica homeowners. It's not a perfect option for them, but the site needs to be redeveloped, and we think that we've done so sensitively. We've had numerous neighborhood meetings on this. We've made some additional concessions as late as following Plan Commission on June 20th, so we're very pleased with the outcome of the project.
Other questions? Alderman Cardona.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a question. How many units are going to be affordable housing, or there's any affordable housing in this complex?
With respect to both projects,
Again, identify yourself.
Sorry, Rich Clowder, DLA Piper, attorney for the applicant. Alderman Cardona, the ARO applies to both projects, so it's triggered both with respect to this project and the one following. It's a 10% ARO requirement. We are providing a quarter of the required units on site, and then we are paying the fee in lieu for the balance.
Other questions? Alderman Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman. What's the fee being paid to build off-site?
Noah, do you happen to have that handy? I can find it if. I want to say it's around $500,000 or $600,000
Each.
for each.
I think it's about $1 million.
Yes, I do.
So I'm sorry, so how much?
Noah Safranek with Planning and Development. On the property at 71...
Thank you, Noah, for...
You're welcome. 7141 West Wabansia, the in lieu of fee would be $574,354, and then the other site would be slightly higher than that by a factor of 1 unit. I can get that exact number, 1 second. And that other number would be $626,568.
So in total,
$1.3 million.
where'd the $5 million come from? Or was that a miss?
I'm sorry?
Where'd the $5 million come from that you just mentioned?
I believe he had said 500,000 roughly, and then it's a little bit more than that.
Okay.
So, 1.3, the amount paid in.
Correct, in aggregate.
And all of these units, there are none that are to be owned, correct? It's all
Correct,
rental?
it's a 100% rental project.
And what will be the average rent for these units?
Again, Richard Tucker, Tucker Development. It's going to average for the apartments, on an average size, probably about $2,200 a month, $2,100 a month, and then the townhomes will be higher.
And are these like family style, or are these like single bedroom? What are these apartments?
Mix.
I mean, are these?
They
So
are a
what's
mix.
the breakdown?
I don't have the exact breakdown with me, but they're a combination of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units.
Focusing mostly on, is it equal distribution? Is it? I'm just trying to get a sense of the addition
market?
to the neighborhood that you're making, as well as the market, whether it's going to be, are you doing this for families? Is this for single folks? What?
We see it being a combination. There are a high percentage of that, I don't know the exact number, of 1 bedroom, so it'll be more single-related and young married, as well as there are some units for families as well.
I think obviously when people are talking about their quality of life issues, as has been mentioned in all of these, people are trying to understand, are we getting 60 families with kids? Are you getting 60 single people who are going to be out and about? I'm trying to get a sense of what it is you're
Again,
adding to the community.
we don't know exactly who the renters will be at this point, but...
No, but you know what you built, correct?
Yes, no, so the types
So
of
what
units...
did you build?
The types of units will be a combination of both single and married and family, so the total numbers of units...
You have a breakdown, 1 bedrooms,
Yes, Howard.
studios, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, townhouses.
Go ahead, Howard.
I don't have the exact breakdown, but obviously the townhomes are all 3-bedroom units, so those will be geared more towards family. on the apartment building.
And is that the, excuse me, is that the Neva side?
Yes, the townhomes are the buildings that are located along the north, along Wabansia, and along the east.
Okay.
And then this is a apartment building, a 4-story apartment building.
Is that version that we're seeing down there?
Correct. What you're seeing down here is a view looking from the north south. So these are the townhomes that are along Wabansia, and this is the apartment building that's along Neva. So the apartment building will have more units that are geared towards single and young couples, 1-bedrooms and studios, and then some larger 2-bedrooms at the corner. So that's why it is a mix. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it's 2 different product types, so it's trying to draw multiple options for people.
Got it. Okay. Thank you, Chairman.
Alderman Cicho Lopez, did you have a question?
And thank you, Chairman. This question obviously for the developer. And I deal with this in my own ward. I hear the concerns of some of the residents who take the time to come here to hear about, the impact that this have in their livelihood, in the quality of life. So I personally want to know, because after the fact, after this is done, they will have to deal with it. I would like to see exactly how you're going to address some of the concerns. I know that they have been circulating petitions. Not sure how exactly you're going to address the concerns of the residents that are telling you that your development is 16 feet away from the properties, and they will have to live with it. So in my concern is obviously the cost is being again and again on the taxpayer. We've seen what property taxes, obviously by new development, affects them, and on top of that, they will have to deal with some of the issues of construction and what your development is going to do to affect their livelihood. So I would like to hear directly from you how you're addressing these concerns.
Well, can you be a little more specific about what the question is? I mean, you're talking globally about the development?
I think the lady had a
We've
very
heard enough from the
specific-
witnesses.
had a very specific question, right? Look, you're so close to my property, right? They have a concern. What are you going to do to address some of the concerns that some of the residents have? They have submitted a letter, I understand, to you as well. So how are you addressing some of the concerns they have in terms of the proximity to the properties? I think that's one of the questions that she just did it to. I'm just redirecting the question to make sure that the residents have an answer.
I got it.
So I guess there's a few
And
answers.
for the record, you
Yeah,
are?
Richard Tucker, Tucker Development. Number one, we have provided green space where under the current zoning, those could be the same height buildings, single-family residences, so it would be in the same area with the same building height. And then two, we've established additional green space and a small park area for the residents, not just for this immediate development, but for the entire area. So on top of that, we've created this alleyway that is on our property that we will have access, but we've also invited the residents who live to the east to tap into that alley, which would then free up land on their own property, so if they chose to, into their garages. So we've done a number of things to address. We've had multiple meetings with the residences. We've continued to fine-tune the plans, and we've tried to address their concerns along the way.
Great. Hold on a second. Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay. Alderman Walter Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I know us aldermen go through a lot dealing with these issues, and we evaluate them from the community meetings. So is Alderman, may I ask, is Alderman Teleferro for this?
Yes.
So he
Yes,
supports
he is.
it?
We have a letter on file.
So it makes me think that he went through this and worked with the community and came with some compromises and got some things from the developer that he normally don't get. Now, and no indifference to my colleague, but a 16-foot alley is a normal size alley. That's the standard that the city puts in. And for someone to put that on their own property, which is calls for them to giving up square footage, not at the city's expense, is like a give to the community. They're giving them an alley that they didn't have before, which I think is a great thing. But as of right, without a zoning change, what could you do on this property? May I ask?
Sure. With those existing buildings that were Richard Tucker, Tucker Development, those existing, the structures we have on our plan, the height of those buildings could be single-family residents in the same location.
Without an
And
alley.
actually closer without the alley.
So you can
correct.
build right next to their property without an alley,
Correct.
right? But the alderman negotiated with you in the community to get an alley.
Correct.
Right, all right, thank you.
Great. Alderman Hedden.
Thank you, Chair. That's a good question, Alderman Burnett, and I guess a follow-up question. This might be more for our planning team, but maybe for the developer as well. If you could build a similar building without the zoning change, I guess I'm looking for an explanation of why a zoning change for, like why this switch to the RM 4.5?
We would be able to build the same floor area, but we would not be able to create the same density. So the reason that we've done it this way is because although the height and the impact on the neighborhood arguably would be the same under the existing zoning, we think it's a better, more vibrant, feasible solution to build a project that includes retail uses, that includes multiple kinds of housing options for residents in the neighborhood. And again, many of the public benefits that we've created, including the alley and the green space, would not have been required if we just took, plugged and play based on the existing property. We thought that it was a better solution, and the alderman agreed for the neighborhood to create multiple uses and multiple product types.
Even though for the townhome section, the uses aren't multiple, these are all residential, right?
Well, Commissioner or Alderman, it is true that the townhomes would have been allowed under the existing zoning.
Correct.
And we think that what we've done is create a good solution for the neighborhood by providing complementary uses, complementary housing types, and by providing public benefits like green space in the alley. So it's all part of one plan development, so it's a cohesive zoning district in and of itself. And so that allowed us the flexibility to be able to provide housing and uses as rendered on the plans.
Thank you.
No more questions. Can I have a motion do pass on this item? Alderman Sawyer moves. All those in favor? Aye. And any opposed? The opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. That, again, is item 19946. So we're doing that, and now we're on to the second half.
Okay, very briefly on application 19947, it's the same applicant. The property this time is located at 715391 West Wabansie and 1636 North Neva. The matter, again, was before the Plan Commission. I believe that record has already been incorporated into the proceedings of this hearing
correct.
today. That property is currently zoned B12 Neighborhood Shopping District, and the application would rezone that property first to B32 Community Shopping District and then to a residential business plan development. That property is about 244,000 square feet. That property is also the site of the former Sears store, which is now vacant and has been for some time. On this property, which is a separate plan development, we're proposing the renovation of the existing Sears store together with the new construction of a 5-story building with 161 total residential units, along with ground floor retail and 462 accessory parking spaces, along with accessory and incidental uses. Also in the 29th Ward also has the support of Alderman Taliaferro, and the same design team is involved with that project and would invite your questions.
Questions by committee members? Alderman Hedden.
Just a question, was this the project that the Plan Commission had some hesitation about or questions or that required changes? Is the other one right?
You can speak to that. I was there, but I think actually the parking lot had more.
It was the parking lot that
Yeah,
had more.
this one, I believe that this one is not the subject of concern among the neighbors, nor was it discussed in any detail at the Plan Commission.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Burnett.
What's the ratio of parking on this, Mr. Chairman?
Well, Counselor?
So we have 161 residential units and 462 parking spaces, which seems like a lot, but the reason why is there's going to be a lot more retail commercial on this site, and so therefore most of the parking is reserved for the retail. There will be,
Well, hold on, but, Rich, are you?
yeah, I was just going to say, so the 161 parking spaces will settle on a comfortable ratio for those, depending on what the demographic is and what the real need is among parkers. As you know, parking is becoming a thing of the past, although it's still important to provide in neighborhoods like this, so that's what we're planning on doing. But I don't remember the exact amount of square footage that's dedicated to retail uses, but it's significant, and we
Right.
expect an anchor retailer there as well, which will have their own parking requirements.
Right, so there's two components there. I'm sorry, Richard Tucker, Tucker Development. We have approximately one space per unit available in the basement, so that'll be within the building itself. Then the grade level parking primarily will be for retail, and we have approximately 85,000 feet. And of that, approximately 80,000 feet of that are for anchor tenants. So primarily, it's two larger anchor tenants, a health club and a grocery store, and then some smaller retail as well. And that's what the grade level parking is primarily used for.
Greg, how many jobs you think are going to be created from this development?
We do have that someplace.
I think Alderman Burnett is talking about construction and permanent.
I don't have those figures, and obviously at this point, they're very preliminary. Can I yield to DPD? Noah, do you have the projected temporary and permanent job figures at your disposal?
Noah?
Again, Noah Safranek, Planning and Development. On the site at 7141 West Wabansia, there is anticipated to be 465 temporary jobs and 202 permanent jobs. And then the other site has approximately 350 temporary jobs with 16 permanent jobs.
Thank you. So my compliments to the alderman on bringing this development to his area, which quite frankly, I haven't seen a development in this area in a long time. So kudos to Alderman Talaferro for getting a job producer in his community.
Other questions? Alderman Kappelman.
Thank you. Just very quickly, the affordable housing, the ARO, how many units on site, and if there's any contributions to the Low-Income Housing Trust Fund?
So it'll be about, between the two projects, about
Identify.
$1.3 million of.
Rich, for the record, you
for
are.
the record, Rich Clowder. The total fee in lieu for the two projects is about $1.3 million, and the on-site is a quarter of the 10%. So that's 150 plus 161, 28 total, eight total between the two projects, on-site, and then the balance in the form of the fee in lieu.
Thank you. I recently met with those who head up the Low-Income Housing Trust Fund, and they are in huge financial straits. They $8 million deficit, so this certainly helps that fund. This fund, many people aren't aware, funds rental subsidies for people who earn between zero and $16,000 a year. So this is an incredible boost to them. Right now, at this point, the Low-Income Housing Trust Fund is not able to expand because of their situation. So anything we can do to contribute more money to that is desperately needed, because we need to triple the amount of Low-Income Housing Trust Fund rental subsidies. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Yes, Alderman Villegas.
Mr. Chairman, Counselor mentioned a quarter of 10%. Is that
Right, 2.5% on-site and 7.5% fee in lieu.
Okay, so 2.5%. Okay, thank you.
Okay. I don't see any more questions. Do I have a motion to pass this item? Moved by Alderman Burnett. All those in favor? Aye. Say aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and good luck, and appreciate the investment in Alderman Talaferro's ward, and I'd say this to everybody: make sure you're a good neighbor.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
We will
time.
be.
Top of page 6.
Okay. We're moving out of order to the top of page 6, number 20036 in the 12th Ward, ordinance referred 52919, common address 1735 West 38th Street. Change request, RS3 residential single unit detached house district to a C11 neighborhood commercial district. This is in the 12th Ward. Counselor, good morning still. Thanks.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. And you have great patience, great patience. My name is William J.P. Banks from the Shane Banks Law Firm. Mr. Chairman, with me is my colleague and friend, Mr. Nick Standiford, along with us, our client, Tilly Barbosa Photography, LLC. Tilly is with us today, and her, Josh Hutchinson as well. We're here before you today seeking to change common address of 1735 West 38th Street in the 12th Ward, Alderman Cardenas's ward, from an RS3 to a C11, and the C11 designation is a former warehouse. We have pictures of the structure as it will look upon redo, if in fact the committee wishes to see them.
So wished.
So wished?
I think you'll start from my colleague behind you.
Oh. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we're seeking to go from a residential use to a neighborhood commercial use in order to achieve an artisan use, an artist/artisan use at the subject premises. My client is a photographer by trade, although also very active within the artisan community, is famous for her photographs of food, and I'm famous for eating it, I guess.
Actually, one of the most difficult things to photograph is food.
Absolutely.
I know that for a fact.
Absolutely. This is a use that was vetted by the community, both the alderman and there was a community meeting held about a week ago. The reception to the plan was not only good, but extremely positive. The use is one which we believe will benefit the 12th Ward in many, many different ways. The rendering that you're looking at is a vast improvement over what is presently there. It's a great use of green space and plantings throughout. This is truly a magnificent use for the city of Chicago and the 12th Ward. We had no pushback on this matter from the community, very strong appeal. The alderman has submitted a letter of recommendation, which is in possession of the committee, stating his full approval of the project without opposition, something that's nothing but a positive for the community and the alderman's support. We stand ready to answer any and all questions you may have.
Questions? Committee members, any more questions? Alderman Patel.
Can you describe, Attorney Banks, the area surrounding this building? Is the rest of the area zoned RS, what is this, 3?
RS3.
Is this
yeah.
individual zoning? Or is the entire
this-
area an RS, I mean, a C1-1?
No, it's actually mostly commercial, or the area was it was an old warehouse for many, many years, but not used as such, and not used as residential either. Is that correct?
I think the question is the context of the surrounding area. God forbid this is not successful, and we have a C1 in a residential district. Could you respond to that? I think that's...
That's my question.
It's a pretty mixed use, but I'd like to yield to the owner.
Yeah, great. Love to hear from you.
If you would please state your name, Telly, and state your name and address for the record.
Hi, good morning. My name is Tilly Barbosa.
Bring the mic a little closer to you, Tilly. Great.
Morning. My name
Morning.
is Tilly Barbosa. Yes, the neighborhood, it's mainly residential around us. The neighborhood has been changing a lot, has a lot of construction going on, a lot of new things happening. Josh and I went to the community meeting, and we got really strong support from the community itself. The building has been a commercial building for a long time, and it's just not treated well. We wanted to keep the overall look of the building the way it is, and just basically making it look prettier and more presentable for the neighborhood.
Alderman Dow, any question?
And the second question I have, looking at this rendering, this is going to be an increased building. The existing building that's there, you're just renovating the existing building. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, Tilly Barbosa again. We're not changing the outside. We're keeping the structure the way it is. It's a beautiful Bow Trust building, and I want to keep it just the way it is. We're just going to renovate it and make it look better.
And adding looks like three curb cuts on the residential street, is that accurate?
That's correct, Tilly Barbosa. We are not changing the amount of parking. We're just moving it around, basically. One of the cutouts used to be a garage that we're actually bringing it back to what it used to be. But then we're closing the one that is open now. So in terms of amount of parking, it's going to stay the same. We're just flipping it.
Thank you.
To that, this is a, very good. William J.P. Banks, Shane Byrne Law. This is a one-story building. It is approximately 4,200 feet of interior space, mostly open space on the interior, demonstrations, mounting, production, etc. We're talking about 3 parking spaces. This will certainly not be any sort of an overload on parking in the community. And the lot itself, I believe, is 5,900 feet. Just to add to it.
Great. Alderman Haddon.
Just a clarification. So, Alderman Dow, you had a question about the curb cuts. In looking at the property, those are existing curb cuts.
That was my question.
Yeah, I think they're existing, they're not new.
Those will remain. Okay. Any more questions from committee members? Hearing none, do I have a motion to move to pass? Moved by Alderman Villegas. All those in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item is passed, and good luck to you. I hope you have a long and successful career so we don't have to go back and talk about zoning on this site for a long time. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee.
Okay. All right, regular order of business, top of page 2. Item number 20037 in the 48th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address 5661 North Glenwood Avenue, change request, RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district. He's here. Great.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman
Good
and
morning.
members of the committee. For the record, my name is Sarah Barnes, and I'm an attorney with the law offices of Sam Banks. Happy to be here today on behalf of the applicant, Lee Baker, who is seated to my right. Mr. Baker also owns the subject property. I've been doing this for what I feel like quite a long time. I've come across a lot of truly unique properties. This one by far wins the prize. The subject site measures 21 feet in width by 35 feet in depth. So it's over 2,000 square feet smaller than a standard city lot. Believe it or not, the site is already improved with an existing 2-story single-family home and with an attached garage, and that is where Mr. Baker resides with his partner. Over time, however, the building has sustained some significant structural damage, so they are in the process of renovating it. Part of the renovations calls for an infill addition above the attached garage, which will cure the leaking roof that has been not only impacting the subject property, but also the adjacent property. And it will give just them, Mr. Baker and his partner, a little bit more living space. In order to effectuate that proposal and permit the renovations, however, we do need to bring the existing non-conforming building into compliance. And in order to do that, we do require the zoning change requested here today. We've met with Alderman Osterman, as well as the local community organization, Aetna, and we did also, Alderman Osterman helped us host a public meeting at which we received almost unanimous support for the proposal. As well, I believe that Alderman Osterman received a letter of support from the local community organization. With that, I will be very happy to answer any questions regarding the proposal, or Alderman Osterman is here and may speak further to this.
Alderman, do you want to speak, or are there other questions from the
Real
committee?
quickly, if I might, to the committee members, I support this. We had a community meeting out about it, and unanimous support from the neighbors around it. Mr. Baker's taking an old building with a non-conforming use and investing and staying in the community. So it's taken a unique building and making it better for the neighborhood, and I would appreciate the committee's support.
Questions from committee members? Hearing none, may I have a motion? Move to pass on this item. Alderman Raboyes moves to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item will be reported out.
Thank you.
Good luck to you.
Mr. Chairman, while I'm sitting here, though, there was a deferral that did not get mentioned during the initial deferrals. Would it be okay for me to
Yeah,
read
let's
that? Okay.
put it in for the record.
Okay, great. It's on page 5. It's application number 20038 in the 26th Ward, common address 3619 West Armitage Avenue. Alderman Maldonado actually called our office and would like a little bit more time for this one. So
So
just,
you're asking for the deferral?
yeah.
Okay.
I thought his office would have called, but it doesn't appear so I'll.
So then I'm going to ask for a motion to defer item 20038 in the 26th Ward on behalf of the attorney.
Thank you.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? This item will be deferred.
Thanks so much.
Is there a date certain?
I believe it's going to be the 23rd.
Well, let's not put it in the
yeah.
record. Let's not put it in the record.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'll
We'll get
I'll
there.
contact
We'll-
the office if
we'll
it's,
get there when we
if
get
it's on
there.
there. Exactly.
All right?
Good idea. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Bottom of page 2, item number 20030 in the 36th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address 6047 through 49 West Addison Street, change request B11 Neighborhood Shopping District and B31 Community Shopping District to a B31 Community Shopping District. Let me just repeat that. Oh, okay, so we're combining two.
Good morning,
lots.
Mr. Chairman, members.
I wanted to understand what I just said.
I know, because it's a split zoning lot.
All right, Counselor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Paul Kolpak with offices at 6767 North Milwaukee Avenue. I represent the applicant 6043 Addison Inc., doing business as New Wash Ucoin Laundry, Mr. Kyung Bake. As we mentioned, the request is to change the zoning from the split zoning lot of B1-1 Neighborhood Shopping District and B3-1 Community Shopping District to that of a B3-1 Community Shopping District. The property in question is one single building, approximately 2,471 square feet, is currently used as an existing laundromat. The adjacent property, which is approximately 827 square feet, is currently vacant. In order to expand, and that property is zone B-1, B1-1. In order to expand the existing laundromat into the B1-1 district, we need to change to the B3-1. It's just a change of expansion of an existing use into the adjacent property, and it's just a split zoning lot how it happened. It splits the building pretty much 2/3 and 1/3. We have met with the alderman. We do have a letter of support with the alderman, and I'm prepared to answer any questions we may have.
Thank you, Counselor. Alderman Villegas.
Thank you, Chairman. Just a simple change just to add some additional capacity to the laundromat, and I ask for favorable consideration.
Great. Questions by committee members? Hearing none, Alderman Kappelman moves to pass. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item is passed.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Moving to top of page 3. Item number 20040, in the 36th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address, 5642 West Grand Avenue, and the change request, a B31 community shopping district to a C21 motor vehicle-related commercial district. Counselor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name, for the record, is Tom Moore, and with me today is Mr. Sean Connolly, who is the owner and operator of Blankenship Movers at this address. He's been there for a long time, never had any problems. He did have one consumer complaint, and when the city came out to investigate that, they realized that he does have moving vehicles in an open lot, and under a B3, he cannot run his business properly that way. So he was cited for that, and we now are asking for the zoning change to bring him into compliance with his existing business. And he had several meetings with the alderman. He agreed to landscape and make he is a good neighbor. He cleans up the garbage and various stuff around the neighborhood and does participate in it. But in addition, he's agreed to add additional landscaping and beautify the property. And he's notified the immediate neighbors. We're aware of no opposition, and we have a letter of support from the alderman.
Great. And I think there's a question or two from the committee before we'll hear from Alderman Villegas. Alderman Patel.
Yes, this says Cesar Sanchez is the owner, but you're not Mr. Sanchez.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who
He's the
says it?
applicant. He is a renter. Mr. Sanchez, we have a letter of support from him and a disclosure. I misspoke. He's the applicant, but he rents the property for many years.
Well, it has, okay. Thank you.
Alderman Villegas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, this is a local business that's been in the community for quite some time, looking to get the correct zoning in order to maintain his business in the city of Chicago. I ask for your favorable consideration.
Other questions? I have one. How long you been there? And in the manner that you're seeking this zoning change? Meaning the storage of these...
I'm sorry?
Say your name.
Identify yourself. This one? Sean Keneally. Over 10 years, about 12 years.
And so there's been no change of use? It was
Oh,
just
no.
a
No.
consumer complaint, and obviously the activity needed the change?
Correct. Correct.
So, with that, do I have a motion do pass? Alderman Cardona moves do pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this will be reported out.
Thank you very much.
Bottom of page 3, item number 20044, T1, in the 32nd Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, the common address, 1860 North Milwaukee Avenue, change request, M12 Limited Manufacturing Business Park District to a B33 Community Shopping District. Good morning, I think still. Great.
Good morning,
Counselor.
Chairman Tunney and members of the Committee on Zoning. My name is Richard Toth. I'm an attorney at Daly and Georges in Chicago. I'm appearing on behalf of the applicant, 1860 Milwaukee LLC, on application number 20044-T1, which, as you indicated, seeks a zoning change from M12 to B33 as a Type 1 zoning change. The applicant is the property owner. Present with me today is the applicant's representative, Mr. Bart Friedman, and architect Salvatore Martinini. The subject property is at the southwest corner of Milwaukee and Oakley. It's a one-story brick building that extends lot line to lot line. The building is currently vacant and it was originally developed as a warehouse and used by a small roofing company. The building was vacated 15 years ago and sat dormant. The applicant purchased the property in 2017, and since purchasing the property, the applicant has spent over $100,000 cleaning out the building, installing an entirely new roof, tuck pointing the exterior, and sandblasting the entire interior. The goal is to allow a cigar store and lounge in the existing building. The current M12 zoning does not allow the proposed cigar lounge use, which will also require a public place of amusement license. The applicant has entered into a lease commitment with a tenant who will be investing a few $100,000 more in a renovation and build out for its use. I did want to clarify one thing. Today's agenda indicates that there is a substitute ordinance. When we filed our application, the original ordinance was actually labeled substitute. So in truth, there's been no change to the ordinance. What was labeled as substitute is in fact the original ordinance. So we did, however, submit a substitute narrative and plans last week. Those drawings reflect rooftop stairwell enclosures for rooftop access. We do ask that the substitute narrative and plans be incorporated.
So Alderman Raboyes moves to accept the substitute narrative and plans for this Type 1 application. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you. The applicant did present...
Hearing none, the plans are accepted.
Thank you. The applicant did present the project to Alderman Scott Wagasback, who I believe is supportive of the zoning change. He also presented it to his local community group. Subject to the approval of the zoning change, with substitute narrative and plans, use and density parameters will be in compliance with the Chicago zoning ordinance. On behalf of the applicant, I request your favorable recommendation, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Questions by committee members? Alderman Wagasback.
No questions, Chairman, but I just wanted to make sure that you had my letter of support for this zoning change. We have spoken to the neighborhood organization. As you know, it's a Type 1. If were there any additional square footage added or a new building to be developed, they would have to come back for an additional change.
Thank
But
you.
we do have the support of the neighborhood organization and neighbors.
Thank you, Alderman. Cigar bar, I have a question. Well, first of all, 1860 Milwaukee, very successful corridor, I believe. The building was vacant for how many years?
Thank you. For approximately 15 years, a woman was a roofing contractor that built the building. I'm not sure when, but a long time ago. And we acquired the building and we opened it up. It was full of mold and it was a mess. Floor to ceiling racks of equipment. So we vacated, cleaned it, and have done some work.
And in this world of cigar land, I guess, how many of these are around the city?
Let me preface, I am simply the landlord. I have no involvement in the business. That is a tenant that I have signed a lease with. So I cannot give you any statistics on that business.
We have do we know from the department the use? I heard is that a half dozen of them maybe?
Yeah, Steve Valenziano, Department of Planning and Development. We don't have the exact number. DBACP would, Department of Business Affairs, but we have seen a number of these come through through the building permit process lately. So I would say you're right, probably about 6 or 7.
Well, good luck as the landlord. And we'll see where cannabis legislation goes too. So, that being said, any more questions from committee members? If not, do I have a motion? Moved with robust, Alderman Raboyes moves to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That's the biggest aye we had this morning. Any opposed? I don't hear it, so this item will be passed with substitute narrative and plans. Good luck, and hopefully you have a tenant for a long time. Thank you. All right. On to page 4, middle. Item number 20029 in the 29th Ward. Ordinance referred on May 29th of 19. Common address, 3200 North Harlem. Change request, B31 Community Shopping District to C11 Neighborhood Commercial District. Counselor?
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Paul Kolpak with offices at 6767 North Milwaukee Avenue. I'm here today representing the applicant Belmont Real Estate, Inc., Mr. Stephen Chacko, requesting a zoning change from the current B3-1 Community Service District to that of a C1-1 Neighborhood Commercial District. Purpose of the zoning change is to expansion of the existing gas station with a proposed one-story rear addition of approximately 225 feet to the existing convenience store. That would bring the total to approximately 1,977 feet. There would be a one-story accessory automated car wash building with approximately 1,022 square feet. The height of the building will be 15 feet total. We have met with the alderman. He's reviewed the site. The fact that it was an existing gas station, he feels comfortable with the fact of expansion of the existing use. We do have a letter of support in the file from the alderman.
We do have a letter of support from Alderman Talafaro. Questions by committee members? No questions. I have a motion by Alderman Cardona to move to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, this item is passed. We report it out.
Thank you very much for your consideration.
Great. Moving on to bottom of page 4. Item number 20028, T1 in the 27th Ward. Ordinance referred May 29th of 19. Common address, 1010 West Lake Street. Change request, C11 Neighborhood Commercial District to a DX3 Downtown Mixed Use District.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jimena Castro, an attorney at Costa Esger. And before we begin, I actually have a letter of support from WCA, if I can step up and give. And I also have plans and just a visual representation of what we're doing.
Show us what you got.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, why not?
I made 10 copies, so hopefully
Thank you. All right.
And they're in color too, so.
We've got some ideas about technology in this committee, but we're getting there, okay? So, all right. Proceed.
All right, so to my right is Joel Huffman, who is the applicant, owner, and architect. What's unique about Joel is he actually owns, he's the ground floor owner of his architect firm, which is actually in the building. So he is a super expert for this project. So the subject property is improved with a 3-story mixed-use building. And we are looking to rezone the property from a C11 to a DX3 to construct 649 square foot expansion on the 3rd floor. And this will allow for the addition of 3 bedrooms on the ground floor for his family. So he lives upstairs as well. The existing 2 parking spaces will remain and the height will not change. We have been talking with Alderman Burnett. We have a letter of support from WCA. Wilco actually sent the alderman a message this morning approving this project, and we have no objection from Nowell. If you have any questions, we would be happy to address them.
Let's hear from Alderman Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. So this gentleman is actually an architect.
Yes.
Who's actually You're participating in the Affordable Housing Architectural Contest.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I just heard you on BEZ. They had a thing about you all on BEZ this
correct.
week, right? And I don't know if you all know there's a architectural competition to see who can design the most affordable unit in the city of Chicago, and several architects have participated, and he's one of the architects. But you currently live here?
Yes, live and work.
You and your family currently live here, and they just want to add a small addition to their property, but it's zone C1. So this is a grandfathered in, non-conforming use property. We just want to, the community just want to allow him to expand his space just a little bit, no height difference, anything. We had him to go to all of the community organizations in order to, because it's not a big major development, in order to see if they had a problem with him adding an addition 600 square feet to his current property, and the community organizations all said is okay, and they also said that there's no need to have a very large community meeting in reference to this, because we have a whole bunch of large community meetings. So with that, we got letters from two of the community organizations and no comments from the other.
Correct.
I'm sure it won't be any problem with this, so we ask the committee for their support.
Thank you, Alderman. Questions by committee members? I have a little question. I think it seems like it's a pretty robust change. You know, can you give us the narrative? Is it surrounded with DX3 or what?
So it's a type 1. It's a type 1
it's a
zoning,
type
I
1.
should say. So currently, what happens is it's actually mixed-use developments in the whole project on that block. So there's several storefronts with residential up top, but they all been rezoned after they were zoned mixed use with residential up top. Then it was rezoned to C1, right, years ago. So it made them non-conforming.
And if I can also add, we're seeking just an FAR increase in here.
Oh, I see.
And since it's in this downtown district, we automatically have to rezone it to a D. So
Okay, I
this
think
is the
that's what-
least density.
Well, I think I was
Yeah.
going with that because I know you've expanded the DX areas, and it just was kind of
Right.
interested to see.
Yeah. So outside of him doing this addition on his property, I'm currently not allowing anyone else to do residential in that area, but he already lived there, so I'm just allowing him to do an
He lives
addition.
above the ground floor.
Alderman Dow.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. This is not related to this particular item. It's a question for the chair. But I also wanted to acknowledge, Alderman Burnett, that you and I have that
Competition. There
that
you go.
competition in the 3rd and the 27th Ward. So we're really excited to find out who won.
Who won the
Right.
competition, right?
Chairman, we used to get from the zoning division before the meetings a list of these projects and their recommendations. Is that still going to be part of the
Well,
committee?
Nicole, you want to answer?
Remember getting that?
I think you were talking about the department recommendation.
Yes, the department recommendations, because I'd like to know that, not related to this project,
But just overall.
but just overall.
Yes, Patrick Murphy with Department of Planning. We do still send that. I will double check with staff after this to make sure, but it has been sent out before all the hearings to
Committee members.
well, no, to all of the aldermen, not just committee members, but I will double check.
Okay, am I the only one that did not receive it?
You're the only one I've heard from, but others are nodding their head, so I will definitely double check when I get
Okay.
back upstairs.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Patrick.
All right. Great. Patrick, are we done? Okay. Questions, other questions by committee members? Okay. So, Alderman Raboyes, do I have a motion to move to pass? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item is passed.
Thank you so much.
And good luck on this and with the affordable housing contest.
Thank you.
Yes, I'll tell you.
Okay, next, where are we at? Page 5. Okay, top of page 5. Document number 20032, T1, in the 26th Ward. Ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address 4040 through 4048 West Armitage. Change request B11 Neighborhood Shopping District to a B32 Community District. Counselor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Dean T. Marigus on behalf of the applicant. I am here with the Executive Director and applicant, Mr. Torres Cartwright Omar, who is the Executive Director of the establishment. We were very honored to represent this group. It is a cultural center that has been in the city for 48 years, and for the last 12 years has been specifically at this location. And we have met with the community. The reason for the zoning change is for use as a medium venue space, banquet and meeting hall at 3,790 square feet with an existing 1- and 2-story mixed-use building with 2 residential dwelling units with no on-site parking. The applicant will seek relief of the Zoning Board of Appeals to accommodate the required medium venue parking space. The building is 25 feet in height. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, I think that the letter of approval from the Alderman Maldonado, says it best. Quote, "They are improving their facility, which will deepen the cultural awareness for our children to learn more of our city, our state, and our nation, of their ethnic background and history. This will be an asset to our community, and I strongly support your granting the zoning amendment." I have given a copy to the committee. If you need another copy, Mr. Chair, I will gladly submit it.
We've got the copy. Thank you.
And we submit ourselves for questions.
Questions by committee members? Alderman Raboyes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was one of the involved aldermen when the project began in that area, and it's one of the strongest and best community cultural organizations that we have going for us on the northwest side. Although it's not in my ward, I support this wholeheartedly because we need their community cultural center to exist and coexist with other facets of what they're doing to make the unit grow. So I wholeheartedly support this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman.
Alderman Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman. 41 years, that's almost as long as I've been on this planet. Awesome. Would you like to actually expound on what your center does, since you have the opportunity to do so?
Yes. This live? Yes. Yeah, the Segundo Ruiz Belvis Cultural Center is the oldest Latino cultural center in Chicago. It's 48 years old. We began way before I was born, of course, in 1971, but got officially incorporated in 75. Since then, it is the only Afro-Latino focused organization in arts and culture in Chicago. We have youth programs, after-school youth programs throughout the entire year. We have an extremely strong summer after-school program that's running throughout the year as well, throughout the summer. And we also have a significant number of cultural exchanges where we bring artists that spend time with the youth, and they are at the same time booked and given opportunities in major city festivals. So it's a strong arts and culture organization we're looking forward to growing. We have earned recent grants from the Field Foundation, MacArthur Foundation, Driehaus Foundation, City Arts Program, the Illinois Arts Council. So these are all foundations that have found that we are an organization that needs to be sustainable and needs to stay on the west side.
And lastly, out of curiosity, do you do any partnerships with the City of Chicago, in particular its Office of Cultural Affairs and Special Events?
Yeah, they actually like us a lot, I hope, because they've given us several grants, including the City Arts grants in the last 2 years. And we also are partners of the Night Out in the Parks project with the Park District, and also we are constantly helping the Cultural Affairs Department with the booking of festivals like Summer Dance and World Music Fest, for example.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
The questions, for the record, the organization's been around a long, long time. this address on Armitage is your new home?
Yes, since 2007.
It's not so new then, on this.
Yes. So before that, we were at 1632 North Milwaukee.
But this address?
Yeah,
and
that's the
why
one.
we're going through the formalities of today.
Correct.
Great.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Who is that? Motion moved by Alderman Raboyes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I think we have it, don't we, Ariel? I think we got this one. So this will be accepted and moved to the city council.
Thank you,
Good
Mr.
luck
Chair,
and
members of the
continued,
committee.
Thank you.
Success in this new location.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, out of order. We're going to move to page 11. Document number 20021T1 in the second ward. Ordinance referred on 4/10 of 19. Common address 1445 North Ashland. Change request B32 Community Shopping District to a B33 Community Shopping District. Counselor.
Thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Once again, for the record, my name is Sarah Barnes, and I'm an attorney with the law offices of Sam Banks. I'm happy to be here this morning on behalf of the applicant, 1445 North Ashland, LLC. As you may recall, Mr. Chairman, this matter was actually before this board at the previous hearing due to a timing glitch on my part. We got some revisions in late, and I didn't get the substitute plans over to the Department of Planning and Development quite in time, so we deferred it to this hearing to allow them time to review that. So the managing member of the applicant was at the previous hearing the entire time. He was excused from being here today. So with that, I would like to again remind the board that subsequent to the filing of this application and through our ongoing work with the local community organization as well as Alderman Hopkins, certain changes were made to the programming for this site. Those are reflected in a set of substitute plans and a substitute narrative, which were delivered to the Department of Planning and Development, hopefully timely this time. And I would respectfully request that those be adopted into the record here today.
So Alderman Raboyes moves to accept the substitute narrative and plans for this type 1 application. All those in favor? Any opposed? We have the plans in front of us. They're
Thank you.
accepted.
With that, the applicant is seeking a zoning change in order to permit the construction of a new 4-story mixed-use building at the subject property. The proposed new building will contain commercial and retail space at grade level and 12 dwelling units above, 4 units on each the 2nd through 4th floors. The proposal also calls for the establishment of private roof decks above the 4th floor, which will be for the exclusive use of the residents of the new building. The subject property is located within 1,320 linear feet of the Ashland Avenue CTA bus line corridor, and therefore the applicant is seeking to permit the building pursuant to the Transit-Oriented Development Ordinance. As such, the new building will provide on-site parking for a total of 6 vehicles, which will be located within the interior of the 1st floor of the new building. With that in mind, the applicant again has met with Alderman Hopkins as well as the Wicker Park Committee to discuss this proposal. In light of those meetings and comments derived from the same, the applicant has executed a restrictive covenant against the property, which establishes certain limitations on residential parking on public streets within the neighborhood. And that's in consideration of the TOD reduction. As well, the applicant will be providing 2 affordable units within the new proposed building. Based on the foregoing, we do believe that we have the support for this proposal, as acknowledged in a letter of support from Alderman Hopkins, which I believe was tendered to the committee prior to this hearing. And then as well, Alderman Hopkins is still here and may speak to that effect.
Alderman Hopkins.
Thank you, Chairman Tunney. The existing conditions at this location are unacceptable and have languished for far too long. It's a half-completed structure that has been in a state of decay for about a decade now. It was never completed due to economic conditions. It's been bought and sold several times, and finally we have an applicant who is ready to take it on demolish the existing structure and replace it with something that will be an asset to the community. And by the way, the demolition company will make full use of the existing materials. All construction materials on this site will be recycled and reused. This is a relatively modest change from a -2 to a -3. And as Council mentioned, we did negotiate a restrictive covenant for the transit-oriented development component of this project, and we went a little bit farther than just putting it in the deed. We have a contractual commitment from the developer that all marketing materials for the 12 residential units will prominently and clearly state that this is a transit-oriented development unit. Do not plan to live here and own a vehicle. It's not what it's designed for. It's designed for people who have alternative means of transportation, whether it's a bicycle or ride share or access to the Blue Line, which is a block away. So that will prevent people from moving in and then trying to find places for their cars in the neighborhood. They will not be allowed to register their cars. They will not be allowed to get city stickers. They will not be allowed to get residential parking passes for the restricted parking in the area if they choose to live in one of these 12 units. As Council said, we do have a letter of support, and we have had extensive discussions with the Community Association of Record, and I'm prepared to support this project and move it forward today. Thank you.
Questions by committee members? Alderman Haddon.
First, a comment. So Alderman Hopkins, I've got a good friend that lives down that block on Julian, so I'm really excited for you and for everyone who lives around there for this project to move forward. I know it's been, we were looking at the Google Maps picture, but I know it's been just in turmoil for some time. And then just a question, as you mentioned, the really marketing on the TOD piece, you mentioned residents who live there won't be able to get city stickers? Well, no, you said passes, you mentioned city stickers as well.
Right. This is a restricted residential parking zone, so you get the city sticker with the number. I think is it 154, Sarah?
154. Yeah,
154.
it's the
So
parking permit.
You won't be able to purchase that for a vehicle and register it to this address, and that'll be
Gotcha.
clear in marketing materials. This is a building designed for people who choose to not own private vehicles.
Right, so they won't have access to permit parking that would allow them to legally park their car on the street there, but that doesn't prevent them from getting city stickers if they had a vehicle registered at a different place. I just hadn't heard we'd been able to do that. I was just curious.
No, that's correct.
Okay.
The limitations are usually put on the
For the
local
area.
permits. Yep.
And then last question, affordable units?
Yes. So this project actually falls within the Milwaukee Pilot Corridor, which, as you may know, calls for 15% affordability. You can do it on-site or off-site. The applicant has chosen to provide those units on-site. Since he's doing a total of 12 units, there will be 2 affordable units located within the new building. And of course, those will be of like kind to what's being proposed.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Alderman Lopez has a non-related zoning question, not zoning-related question.
I have a distant relative question. Thank you, Chairman. Actually, this question is for the Alderman regarding the parking. So if you'll indulge me, how does the city clerk's office know not to sell those tickets?
The address is entered into a database, and it's clearly delineated that this is a TOD restricted site. Works similar to when you try to purchase a city sticker with a residential zone designation for something 4 blocks away, and you're out of the buffer zone and you can't do that. You know, it's flagged, and the staff person at the counter lets you know you're not able to purchase that sticker.
And that's something that's fairly routine? Because I would imagine that these are, but I've just never heard of the city clerk's technology being able to delineate.
Yeah,
But
you know,
that's-
Alderman,
it's just
I'm
my
not
own
sure how routine
curiosity.
it is. This is only the second time that I've entered into such an arrangement. You know, I can't say it's routine or common, but I'm assured that it is possible, and, you know, we've done it before without any issue.
Okay.
And we've done it on, I've probably done it on 10 or more buildings once the TOD got up and implemented. And I do know, as the alderman said, that there is a database that is linked up to each of your alderman offices. So
Well, not necessarily the alderman's offices, the city clerk's
yeah,
office.
exactly. And that you can request that through the city clerk's office to have those, that building address actually removed from the
And then hypothetically speaking, if an alderman...
eligibility.
chose to write a letter of exemption, would that override the TOD restriction?
There is a provision in the TOD restriction that allows for agreement by the parties. So it would be an agreement between the aldermen. So if the alderman wrote a letter.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman.
Other questions? Just for the record, the narrative says 10, in the substitute, the parking spaces says 10, we've now reduced it to 6. Is that correct?
Correct, that's in the substitute.
Okay.
That was one of the changes that was made as we worked through community review.
Yeah, and those parking spaces are primarily targeted for what we hope will be an eventual retail tenant along the sidewalk there. As you all know, it's been increasingly difficult to find retail tenants for mid-block storefronts, even on busy commercial corridors like Ashland. It's, you know, conditions have changed, the Amazon effect, all sorts of other reasons. And one thing that has proven to be somewhat useful for commercial brokers when they seek retail tenants is parking available for the employees who, you know, work in that facility. So that's what the parking in this structure is designed to do, is to help get the lights on there, and hopefully there'll be a retail use, you know, maybe a professional office or, you know, a salon of some type. They're not looking at food service or restaurants or coffee houses there. So some other type of retail use is indicated, and the parking may help them find a tenant.
Thanks, Alderman. Other questions? Hearing none, can I have a motion to pass with substitute narrative and plans? Alderman Cardona moves. The substitute narrative and plans. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair is the ayes have it, and the item is passed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Back to the regular agenda on the bottom of page 5. Document number 20033 in the 12th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19. Common address 3827 through 29 South Wood Street. Change request RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Mark Kupiak. I'm an attorney with offices at 77 West Washington, and I represent the applicants, Jose and Elizabeth Guerra, who are present and seated beside me. Subject property is owned by Elizabeth's parents, Gabriel and Paula Castro. Subject property is 2 lots, lots 5 and lot 6. Lot 5 is already improved with an older 2-flat residential building, which the parents live in. And the purpose of the zoning change from R3 to R4 would allow the parents to arguably divide an improved zoning lot, keep the existing 2-flat on lot 5, and then transfer lot 6 to Jose and Elizabeth so that they could build a single-family home on lot 6. Jose has spoken with the alderman to explain the project and ask for his support.
We have a letter from Alderman Cardenas indicating his support. Any questions from committee members? Hearing none, can I get a motion to move on this item? Alderman Sawyer moves to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the item is passed. Is there daycare involved? You guys, all this responsibility with parents? I mean, I don't know all the, I don't want to know all the narrative, actually.
Yeah.
Middle of page 6.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, middle of page 6, item number 20031-T1, 11th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19. Common address 2143 through 2145 South Halsted Street. Change request M12 Limited Manufacturing Business Park District to a B33 Community Shopping District. Counselor?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Paul Kolpak with offices at 6767 North Milwaukee Avenue. I represent the applicant Vision Group Investments, LLC, Mr. Joseph Liberti. Our request today is to change the zoning from the M1-2 Limited Manufacturing Business Park designation to that of B3-3 Community Shopping District. The purpose is to construct a new four-story, six dwelling unit buildings with approximately 1,900 square feet of ground floor retail space. The height of the building will be 44.25 inches. There will be 5 parking spaces. Relief for the 6 parking space will be presented in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals and for the rear setback. The property in question is 24 by 100, which makes it a substandard lot. If this property obviously was 25 by 125, we would not have this difficulty. We did have a community meeting. The neighbors were in support of the project. The alderman's in support of the project. We do have a letter of support in the file. If I have any further questions?
We have a letter from Alderman Thompson?
Yes.
We have it. Questions by committee members? Hearing none, may I have a motion to move to pass by Alderman Dowell? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item was passed.
Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
On to page 7. Item number 20039 in the 10th Ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address 8737 South Commercial. Change request, a B12 neighborhood shopping district to a B23 neighborhood mixed-use district. Counselor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name for the record is Tom Moore, and with me today is Mr. Suster. He is the owner of this property, and he's had it for about 10 years, never realizing that the storefront in the front building, it's a non-conforming property with a front building with 4 units in it and a coach house with 1 unit in it. He never realized that the old commercial space that had been converted into an apartment many years ago before he bought it was not a legal residential unit. So the purpose of this request is to make code compliant the entire property, and we have a letter from the alderman, and he has notified all his neighbors, and we're aware of no objections.
I know we have a letter of support from Alderman Garza. Are there questions from committee members? Alderman Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to say to my fellow committee members that I think at some point we need to come up with a more comprehensive strategy, because this seems to be a reappearing problem for individuals who purchase properties only to find out that it's not zoned for what they think they purchased. And it seems to just, every meeting, every month I'm getting people coming to my office. I have a 2-flat, but it's really, or I have a 3-flat, but it's technically a 2-flat. And it just seems that at some point we have to come up with a better strategy for dealing with this other than 1 unit at a time. But I feel your pain, because it's something that constantly we hear about. So thank you, Chairman.
Comment from the department?
Patrick Murphy, Department of Planning. There could be a way administratively to address this specific situation. There are possibly administrative ways to address the 1 unit or the multiple instances of 1 additional unit that you referenced, Alderman Lopez. There is a more comprehensive strategy that the department and the Zoning Bureau has been working on. It was under the last administration and this administration to address similar situations and things that are a little bit more complex to avoid the necessity of coming through for zoning changes, to address some of existing conditions, even in some cases that go beyond the addition of 1 unit. So there are other strategies out there that we've been working on, and there might be other ways to handle this. But a lot of it depends on some of the specifics.
So if I may, like for example, my big concern is for individuals who purchase a property and think it's, X when it's really Y on the books. I can understand if people are making illegal conversions themselves, absolutely, they should still have to deal with being run through the ringer. But for individuals who purchase that property and then a year, 2, 3 years later try to, do anything only to find out it's not what they thought it was,
Sure.
how we can move faster on that. So it's not for the next administration, 3 administrations later.
Agreed. So in order to sell a non-condominium residential property of less than 5 units, you have to get a certification from the department that requires us to research what is there and what was established through permits, or what has enough historical information for us to authenticate a number of units that are in the building. So I don't know what information these people had or claim to have had, that they think they have 3, but we only said 2, or something to that effect. But they are supposed to come through the Department of Planning to get that reviewed prior to the sale, prior to the closing of the sale. And we do hundreds of those a week. So I don't know. I don't know the specifics of those, but those should be vetted out before the sale takes place.
Well, as obvious, we hear it all the time, so we could always do improvement. So
Yeah.
All right. So any more questions from committee members? Alderman Haddon moves to pass on the motion. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and thank you for your patience. in
Thank you
coming
very
on.
much.
Next item is middle of page 7, item number 20034, T1 in the second ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19, common address 1513 West Thomas Street, change request RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district.
Mr.
Good
Chairman,
afternoon.
Dan Lauer, L-A-U-E-R, here on behalf of EZMB LLC. Mr. Thomas Paulman, P-A-L-M-E-N, is here as a representative from the applicant. EZMB is a contract purchaser. This is currently an RS3 vacant frame, which is subject to a building court injunction against occupying, so it's a building that really needs to come down. The proposal is to change to RM 4.5 to construct 3 dwelling units that will be sold as condominiums. The approved FAR from the community group, Mr. Chairman, is just slightly over RT4. They allow that to create 3 bedroom, larger units, which are more saleable and more conducive to long-term ownership. We have the approval of Alderman Hopkins' staff. We have the approval of the Eckerd Park Community Council, and we're pleased to have a letter of support from Alderman Hopkins, who's still here this morning.
Alderman Hopkins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, we're in a position to remove a blighted structure that the neighbors will be rejoicing when that happens, replacing with what I believe is a well-designed building. We're in full support of this, and we would ask for an aye vote.
Great. Am I correct? It's a substandard lot?
I'm not sure what the dimensions are in the lot.
The
Perhaps
footprint of the
council can
building?
address
What's
that.
the size of the lot?
The lot is full-size. There'll be
Okay.
3 garage parking spaces.
Great.
And by the way, for the record, there's no substitutions on this type 1 for narrative or for plans, Mr. Chairman. So everything is correct as filed.
We won't need a motion to substitute. But I want a motion to pass this item. Alderman Lopez moves to pass. All those in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and the item is passed.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Now, moving on to the bottom of page 7, item number 20026 in the first ward, ordinance referred on April 10th of 19, common address 1529 West Chicago Avenue, change request B13 Neighborhood Shopping District to a C13 Neighborhood Commercial District. Good afternoon. Counselor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is John Pekarsky. I'm an attorney with offices at 55 West Monroe Street. And this afternoon, I represent Mr. Joe Fontana, who is seated to my right, and a rather interesting situation. We are representing the entity called Fry the Coop, which is the home of Nashville Hot Chicken. Mr. Fontana has 2 suburban locations and is now coming into the city on Chicago Avenue in the heart of a commercial district. For those who might know, this is the former site of the Mexique restaurant, which was a very high-end restaurant that ultimately failed. As a matter of housekeeping, I have a substitute ordinance. We originally sought a variation for a C zoning. We are now seeking a B32 community shopping district change, and I would present to the board that substitute.
So to a B32, is that correct, Counselor? John, to a
Pardon?
B32?
A B32.
All right, so,
We originally asked for a C13.
okay, so
It's down.
Alderman Lopez moves to accept the substitute. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it, and the substitute is now accepted. Continue on.
Okay, the property is located, as I said, along Chicago Avenue on the south side of the street. It's an area that's almost exclusively improved with commercial units. And as I said, it was the site of a fine restaurant, but the fine restaurant did not have a liquor license, incredibly. We have met with the Chamber of Commerce. We have met with the alderman, and I believe Alderman Laspada is here to support.
Great. Alderman Laspada.
Just very glad to be here to speak in support. Not many places you can find really good local hot chicken in this city, so we're excited for what's being brought and really how the business is going to contribute to the way the commercial corridor on Chicago Avenue is really starting to thrive.
Great. Questions for the alderman or committee members? Alderman Haddon.
Very important question. How many levels of heat do you have for your hot chicken?
There is Joe Fontana, Fry the Coop. There's 6 levels of heat, and the hottest one has the hottest pepper in the world, which is the Carolina Reaper. I don't recommend it.
They pass Zantac out with every order.
Other questions? Zoning questions? Hearing none, Alderman Haddon moves to pass. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. And good luck. Hopefully we have a pass as amended, excuse me. Hopefully you have a long career on Chicago Avenue in the city. So.
Thank you. Honor. Thank you.
Okay, we're now moving to top of page 8. This item being item number 20035, again in the first ward, ordinance referred on May 29th of 19. Common address, 1510 North Tallman. Change request, RS3 residential single unit detached house district to an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Daniel Box. I'm an attorney with the law offices of Sam Banks, located at 221 North LaSalle. I'm here today on behalf of the applicant, Mr. William Morales. Mr. Morales was not able to attend today's hearing as he is out of town. The applicant owns the subject property located at 1510 North Tallman. The subject property is a double lot which measures 50.15 feet wide by 125 feet deep and contains 6,268.75 feet of total lot area. The property is improved with an existing 3-story, 3-unit residential building. The applicant is seeking to permit the existing 3rd unit, which is the garden unit, at the subject site. No physical changes are proposed to the existing building, and so it will remain without change if the zoning change is approved. On-site garage parking for 2 cars is currently provided at the rear of the lot. In order to permit the project, the applicant is seeking a zoning change from an RS3 residential single-unit detached house district to an RT4 residential 2-flat townhouse and multi-unit district. We have worked with Alderman Laspada on this project, who has confirmed his support for the proposed zoning change, which should already be on file with your office. With that, we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have for this project.
Alderman Laspada.
Chairman, yes, our letter is on file at the desk. Again, it's bringing the zoning in line with the existing building. We have no problem with this particular application. We really hope to earn the committee's support today.
Great. Questions by committee members? Hearing none, Alderman Lopez moves to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and this item will be passed.
Thank you.
All right, on the deferred agenda, top of page 9. Okay, item number 20001 in the 39th Ward, ordinance referred on April 10th of 19. Common address, 6253 North Milwaukee. Change request B31 Community Shopping District to a C22 Motor Vehicle Related District. Counselor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Again, my name is John Pekarsky. I'm an attorney with offices at 55 West Monroe Street. And this matter was continued to today for the opportunity to obtain a letter from the local alderman. That has been obtained, and I would, having made the full presentation at the last hearing, I would ask for an affirmative vote.
Well, let me see if committee members have any questions. Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to pass? That be by Alderman Cardona. Moves to pass. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. Item is passed. We do have that letter
Thank you.
for the record with Alderman Nugent. And correct me if I'm wrong, I think we might be, we're done. So then I need a motion to, Alderman Lopez.
Thank you, Chairman. Before we adjourn, I just want to thank CAN TV, which has been broadcasting us live this entire meeting. They were able to accomplish what we've been trying to do as a city council for quite some time. So just want to thank them and all their efforts for shedding the light on our process. Thank you. With that, I move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Alderman Lopez. All those in favor? Aye. This meeting is adjourned. Have a great afternoon. Thank you, committee members.